Hello again, everybody. It's Miss Katie. Once again, I'm a teacher for the Artists in Schools programs for the San Joaquin County School District. Today, I wanted to talk to you about Chuck Close. Chuck Close to me is just a really incredible artist. He's an amazing photorealistic painter. I have a couple of examples to show you. So this is Chuck Close working in his studio. And the reason why his paintings are so amazing is because it's on a massive scale. It's not just a small, realistic portrait. You can see this is him actually standing there. So it gives you a bit of perspective on how large this painting actually is. This is somebody viewing it in the gallery. I mean, look at that detail. You can see every pore on this man's face. He also did color. This is a close-up of a color portrait that he did. I like this one because you can see the details in all the eyelashes. You can see the glasses and the hairs in his eyebrows. Everything's just so amazing, the glare off of his glasses. So Chuck Close is an American painter, and he made these extraordinary massive scale photorealistic paintings, but then at about the middle of his career, he suffered a spinal artery collapse that actually left him mostly paralyzed. And the really amazing thing about him is that he didn't take this as an opportunity to give up. He decided that he was going to push through, and rather than stop creating art, he was just going to adjust the way that he created it. And he started making paintings like this. So you can see him sitting in this chair with limited mobility and limited ability to move his arms and to be able to paint in the really, really defined way that he used to. He created this machine that actually takes the canvases, and with a remote it moves it around and drops it down, and that way he can just hold his hand out and he doesn't have to have as much of a range of motion of his hand. And then he also changed the style of painting that he did. You can see that now it's still realistic, but it's done in these blocks. So Chuck Close had always did something called, he'd done something called gridding. And with gridding, you break a picture down into smaller boxes, smaller, easier to copy pieces. Well, in each grid, he was able to figure out what colors he would need to mix so that up close, your picture may look like that, but then from a distance, the picture looks like that and a face is formed, which I think is just a really incredible skill. So today, I wanted us to take a try at making our own Chuck Close paintings. And I know that you still have a limited access to art supplies, most likely at your home. So all you will need today is a ruler. You will need a pencil. And you will need crayons or colored pencils. Either one's fine. I just noticed with the crayons, it's a little bit faster to color. And that's all you need. Let's get started. Okay, so to begin, you just need to make sure you have a piece of paper. This is just a typical 8.5 by 11 piece of computer paper. So it doesn't have to be any kind of special art paper. And then you've got that pencil, your crayons, and your ruler. So on your ruler, you'll see that there are numbers. And those numbers should correspond, the larger numbers, to inches. So we are going to make squares because we're going to be creating a grid. And to make that grid, we are going to be drawing 2-inch squares. So on the edge of your paper, you're going to line up your ruler and you're going to make yourself a little mark every 2 inches. So it'll be at 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches, and 10. And you'll do the same thing on the other side. You'll line it up at the top. You'll make a mark at 2, at 4, at 6, 8, and 10. Then you'll run it across the bottom. And across the bottom, you will do 2, 4, 6, and 8. And then across the top, you will do 2, 4, 6, and 8. So now you should have these small notch marks that are giving you an idea of where to put your straight lines in order to create your grid. Now your grid won't take up the whole paper. It'll be ever so slightly smaller than the paper just because we're doing it in even 2 inches. So you'll line up your first notch mark on the top and bottom and draw a straight line. And you'll do the same thing with the second set, the third set, and the fourth set. Okay, and then you're going to take your paper, turn it, and then you will draw another line that goes from the first set, second set, third set, fourth set, and then your fifth set. Now you'll see that you have these extra pieces on the bottom and the top. So you can just get rid of those, and then later on you can cut your paper and crop it to get the edges of those off, because you won't really need anything outside of our grid. So right now what you should have is an even 8-inch by 10-inch grid. Now what you're going to start with is your hand, which I just picked because I figure everybody's got one. You're going to take your hand and you're going to place it on your grid. Kind of scoot your hand up so that your hand's not way down towards the bottom with a bunch of empty space at the top. We want to make it balanced. So place your hand in the middle and then trace it. And once again, I picked the hand because the hand is something that I know everybody has access to. But if you find something else that you think it would be really neat to trace and do this project with, you're more than welcome to go ahead and do something else. It'll still work. I'm going to go back. I have a ring on my finger, so it leaves me with a kind of wonky looking finger on that side. So I'm going to go back and fix that real quick. And there is my hand. If you have anything unusual, any weird bumps that you maybe made when you were tracing around your finger, you can feel free to go back and fix those. So when you have your hand traced, now it's time for us to fill this in our Chuck Close style. So with your crayons, depending on how many crayons you have, I mean, you might have a lot, you might have just a few, but you should have at least the primary colors, which is your red, your blue, and your yellow. And then you should have secondary colors, which is your green, your orange, and your violet. So everybody should at least have these. So with every set of colors, there are warm colors and there are cool colors. Your warm colors are colors that are warm. They feel like the sun, they feel happy, things that make you think of, you know, fire, a warm summer's day. So that would be our red, our yellow, and our orange. Those are all warm colors. And then on the opposite side, you have cool colors. Colors like violet and green and blue. Colors that make you think of the ocean or the trees. So inside of your hand, we are going to use only our warm colors. And on the outside of our hand, we're going to use only cool colors. That is our number one rule. Aside from that, what's really neat about this project is you can color in the inside of your hand in really any kind of a pattern that you would want to. You can do polka dots, you can do stripes. There's a lot of different ways that you can fill it in, as long as you make sure that on the inside of your hand you've got your warm colors. Now, if you have a larger set, you might have a variety of tertiary colors that also look really neat. I have a yellow orange that I could use. I've got this color called dandelion. That's another warm color. I've got a scarlet orange. So I have lots of different varieties of colors that I could use, but I think for this one, just for the sake of us all having access to the same colors, I'll show you what it looks like if I just use my basic primaries. So you'll see the edge of my hand right here. And then you'll see the edge of the box. Now each box is breaking this up into a different grid section. So every time I hit the edge of a box or I hit the edge of my hand, I have to stop and I have to start a different pattern. So in this first box, I might do stripes. And you'll see I'm stopping at the edge of the box. And since I'm doing the inside of the hand right now, I'm using one of my warm colors. Then I might do stripes of orange in between. And since it's up to me, I can do vertical stripes or horizontal stripes. I can make them thick or I can make them thin. I can do stripes with 3 different colors, or I can just do it with 2. My only rule is that you'll see I'm stopping once I hit the outside edge of this individual grid box, and I'm stopping once I hit the edge of my hand. And that's because on the outside of my hand, now I'm going to take, within this same grid box, I'm going to take my blue, one of my cool colors. It can be any cool color you want. I might do a little triangle right here with a couple different colors. And over here, this is a really small piece, so I might just color this piece in just completely blue. So there is my first grid piece. Now once I finish with my first grid piece, I move on to the next one. If I go over to here, I can see that my thumb is the only thing that I'm going to be doing in warm colors. And then this whole area will be done in my cool colors. So since my thumb over here was red and orange, I might switch it up, and over here I might decide to do, maybe I'll do polka dots inside my thumb. That could be kind of fun. And then maybe around the polka dots, I will do red. And then I'm going to stop right there because that's where the edge of my grid box is. I have a teeny tiny little piece right here that needs to be filled in. And then I can decide how I want to fill this in. Maybe I want to do big swirls. Big swirls could be fun. Maybe I'll do another little swirl right here. Maybe I'll do green in between since I used a lot of blue on my last one. And you can see, you're already starting to see where even though I'm doing different patterns and I'm using different colors, you can still see where the hand is because I'm making sure that I keep my color scheme of having my warm colors on the inside and my cool colors on the outside. And as long as you keep that color scheme throughout your grid, you're going to still continue to be able to see your hand, and it's going to turn out really neat. So now that we've done this one and this one, I will show you one more. Maybe we'll do this one because this one's got some interesting parts in it. And for this one, maybe I will do, let's see, maybe I'll do a big stripe along the outside of my cool color. Then I'll do let's see, maybe a blue stripe. I'll do a stripe on the inside of blue. I'll do a layer of that. Just kind of layer it inward. And then maybe this time I'll switch to green and I'll use all of my cool colors. And then I have a little sliver left, so I'll fill that in with my violet. And then over here, let's see, maybe over here I'll do some stripes. Now we will take our warm colors and going to create a little bit of a border around the outside, and then I think I'm going to do some cool triangles in it. Maybe we'll do a yellow triangle and another big yellow triangle and another one and another one. And then maybe in between those, I'll do some orange triangles. Maybe I'll make those a little bit longer. And then I will fill them in. I've noticed that the more creative you make your patterns, the more interesting it ends up looking at the end. You know, if you come up with a lot of different really neat patterns, it's always incredible how you can still see the hand on the inside. So that's what I've got so far. When you're all done, let me go see. I have a finished one, so you can kind of see what you might end up with. And that one was just done the exact same way, using a bunch of different patterns. The only difference is that I used pink as one of my warm colors, and then I had a light blue that I used for one of my cool colors also. So if you have the extra colors, you can add in additional colors, and it'll just give you a wider variety and it'll look a little bit more interesting. But as you can see, it looks just fine if you only have those 6 colors. Thank you for joining me again. I hope you had a wonderful time. And I hope you learned a valuable lesson from Chuck Close, that in life you might face challenges, but that's just an opportunity for you to figure out a new way to do the things that you love. And I will see you next time on The Locker.